most important thing is to be able to define which ones you can come to an intelligent decision on and which ones are beyond your capacity to evaluate. You don't have to be right about thousands and thousands and thousands of companies. You only have to be right about a couple. I met Bill Gates on July 5th, 1991. We were out in Seattle, and Bill said, "You've got to have a computer." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well," he said, "you can do your income tax on it." I said, "I don't have any income. Berkshire doesn't pay a dividend." He said, "Well, you can keep track of your portfolio." And I said, "I only have one stock." I said, I mean, and he says, "It's going to change everything." And I said, "Well, will it change whether people chew gum?" And he said, "Well, probably not." And I said, "Well, will it change what kind of gum they chew?" And not. And I said, "Well, then I'll stick to chewing gum and you stick to computers, you know." I don't have to understand all kinds of business. There's all kinds of business I don't understand. But there's thousands of opportunities there. I did understand the Bank of America, you know, and I'll be able. I'm able to do that. I'm able to understand some given percentage. But Ted Williams wrote a book called The Science of Hitting, and in The Science of Hitting, he's got a diagram, shows him at the plate, and he's got the strike zone divided into 77 squares, each the size of a baseball. And he says, if I only swing at pitches in my sweet zone, which he shows there, and he has what his batting average would be, which is 400. If he had to swing at low outside pitches, but still in the strike zone, his average would be 230. He said the most important thing in hitting is waiting for the right pitch. Now, he was at a disadvantage because if the count was 0-2 or 1-2 or so on, even if that ball was down where he was only going to bat 230, he had to swing at it. In investing, there's no called strikes. People can throw Microsoft at me and, you know, you name it, any stock, General Motors, and I don't have to swing. And nobody's going to call me out on called strikes. I only get a strike called if I swing at a pitch and miss. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day, and only when I see something I understand and when I like the price at which it's selling, then if I swing, if I hit it, fine. If I miss it, it's a strike. But it's an enormously advantageous game. And it's a terrible mistake to think you have to have an opinion on everything. You only have to have an opinion on a few things. In fact, I've told students, if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. You know, 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. So I don't worry too much about the things I don't understand. If you understand some of these businesses that are coming along and can spot things on, if you can spot on Amazon, for example, I mean, it's a tremendous accomplishment what Jeff Bezos has done. And I tip my hat to him. He's a wonderful businessman. He's a good guy, too. But could I have anticipated that he would be the success and 10 others wouldn't be? I'm not good enough to do that. But fortunately, I don't have to. You know, I don't have to form an opinion on Amazon. And I did form an opinion on the Bank of America, and I formed an opinion on Coca-Cola. I mean, Coca-Cola's been around since 1886. There's 1.8 billion 8-ounce servings of Coca-Cola products sold every day. Now, if you take 1 penny and get 1 penny extra, that's $18 million a day. And 18 million times 365 is 7 billion, 3 less 730 billion, or $6,570 million. So annually, $6,570 million from 1 penny. Do you think Coca-Cola is worth a penny more than, you know, Joe's Cola? I think so. So, you know, and I've got about 127 years of history that would indicate it. So those are the kind of decisions I like to make. And you may have an entirely different field of expertise than I would have, and probably much more up to date in terms of the kind of businesses that we're seeing evolve. And you can get very rich if you just understand a few of them and understand their future. But I'm going to be 87 in a few weeks. For decades, I've been buying small businesses after they become big. So I pay hundreds of millions of dollars And it occurred to me, I've got to get these people earlier, This country is incredible. I mean, if you think about it, if you put three of me end to end, not that I'm suggesting that, but if you put three of me end to end at 87, it's 20 years before Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. 3 lifetimes like mine, and you've transformed a prairie land, basically. Nothing was here, into $92 trillion. That's the most recent estimate of American wealth, from nothing. And the good news is, the game has just started. When you look at the people behind me, they have been unlocking their potential, in some cases for many years, in some cases very recently, but they're not satisfied with where they've gotten. They want to keep moving forward, and this country gives them the opportunity to do so. Coming through the line, I never met him before. A young man shook my hand, and he said he lived 4 blocks away from me in Omaha. I think he raised his hand. I live in a upper middle class neighborhood. It's a little higher middle class because I live in it in terms of the average income. But, the kids all go to public school in the neighborhood. They don't automatically get cars when they're 16 or anything of the sort. Every person in that neighborhood is living better than John D. Rockefeller Sr. lived when I was born in 1930. Think of that. In medicine, in education, entertainment, in travel, you name it, they are in a better position in life, essentially, than he was in the year I was born. That's in one person's lifetime. And the game is just starting. So anytime you hear anybody say, that your children aren't going to live better than you do, or your children's children and so on, it's ridiculous. And the reason is exemplified by these people behind me. We have a wonderful system. This country, we haven't lost the magic touch. The formula's still there. And I just applaud these people that are taking advantage of that. But that's America, folks. I mean, people want to better themselves. We all want to help each other. In doing that, Americans can do anything if they set their mind to it. And you're looking at Exhibit 1, and I rest my case. Thank you. I've got the ultimate luxury. I get to associate with the people I want to associate with. So if I meet somebody who wants to sell me their business and they cause my stomach to churn for some reason, I don't have to buy it. I mean, and I can't be fired. I've got a friend who likes to own 100% of his company because he likes to look in the mirror and say, all my shareholders love me. Well, I look in the mirror and I say, enough of my shareholders love me. So so I get to choose who I associate with. That's a terrific luxury in life. And yes. And so when I find a Jeep back in 1985, and I mean, I feel like I've discovered a gold mine or something, and he's somebody that I'm attracted to personally. We're good friends. That makes my life better. It makes Berkshire more valuable, but it makes my life better on a personal level. And we've got dozens of managers. There's one right here with me on this trip. Kathy Barron Tamraz, who runs Business Wire, has 3 offices in India, and it is a joy to work with Kathy. I mean, my life is better because she's part of Berkshire. Berkshire's better because she's part of Berkshire also. But I get that. I have that option.
That's a lovely option
to
have.
It's a fabulous option.
This young lady here in the front, second row. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Shraddha Gupta from St. Stephen's. I'm studying economics there. A long time ago, I saw this talk where you'd given a talk at an MBA school, and you ran the students through an exercise where you asked them to choose a classmate in which they would invest 10% and another classmate on whom they would go 10% short. And you mentioned that Ben Graham did the exercise himself. So I was wondering if you ever did the exercise, and if yes, then which habits did you choose to develop and which ones did you choose to let go of?
Well, if you look around you at the people you admire, they have certain qualities. I mean, you've got friends. Why do you like them? Generally, generally they have an upbeat attitude on life. Generally, they are generous people. They're humorous people. They're people that do more than their share. They're people that are thinking about something nice they could do for you. And all of those qualities attract you. And none of those are innate at birth. I mean, you can acquire those. And then there's other people that turn you off, and they have habits, they take credit for things they didn't do, they don't show up on time, whatever it may be. They're a little dishonest about things. And if you're looking at your life at a young age like you are, and you can choose what kind of a person you can be, why not be the person you admire rather than the person you can't stand? It's so simple. So just write down the qualities you like. Take your 5 best friends. Why do you like them? And just write down those qualities. And you will find there's no quality there that you can't have yourself. And similarly with the 5 people you can't stand to be around, put those things down that turn you off about those people. And if they turn you off about them, why should you possess them? It's so simple. It's not like something complicated that you think you should be learning with an advanced degree in school.
It's not as complicated as investing in the stock market.
No, but it's enormously important to have people work with you in life. Right. They're going to work with you in life if they like you. And they may occasionally, I mean, if you're in the Army or something, you may work for somebody that you don't like. But by and large, you're going to get the best out of people if they feel good about you. And it's just so easy, but you've got to develop the habits early, because you can't say I'm going to suddenly become a terribly attractive person when I'm 60. It just doesn't work that way. So pick up the right habits now. And I will guarantee you, if you actually just write down those qualities and think about it, you will find you can have every one of the attractive qualities, get rid of the ones that are negative, and your life will be different.
That's really good and simple advice, but it's quite organized. Are you an organized person, like you write a list, or are you...
Well, my boss, Ben Graham, I had this hero, one of my heroes, in school, and Ben Graham literally did that when he was a very young man. And I read about it, and then I talked to him about it subsequently. And the truth is, everybody liked Ben Graham. And it wasn't because he was smart about investments. It was because he was the kind of human being But, you choose what kind of a human being you're going to be. And then other people choose whether to associate with you or not, or to be led by you. One of the great leaders in American business is a fellow named Tom Murphy that for many years ran Cap Cities. Every time I saw Tom Murphy, I felt to myself, what can I do for him? Because he'd done so much for me. And hundreds of people, his employees felt that way, his directors felt that way, his friends felt that way, and we still feel that way. Now that is a wonderful way to go through life. People love the guy,
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone, fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.